Lookalike audiences are one of my favorite prospecting tools on the Facebook network. There's a lot of algorithmic learning that goes into how a lookalike audience is put together that can really reach beyond what we as advertisers can use with the behavior, interest, or demographic targeting that we have available in the platform. That said, there are a lot of ways that you can make a lookalike audience more impactful, more successful by utilizing some pretty key strategies with your root audience. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I love space, so I'm going to use a pretty loose space metaphor, if you will, about trying to find planets that are in what's called the Goldilocks zone. We're effectively trying to find other planets that are similar to Earth. For whatever reason, we want to study them or we want to try and inhabit them someday, that sort of thing. So scientists are going out trying to find different planets that behave really similar to Earth. They have similar environments, they have similar temperatures, all that good stuff. Obviously, a lot of them here are in the Kepler system. And that's basically what we're trying to do with our target audiences on Facebook. We're giving Facebook a root audience and then having them go find things that are similar to that audience. Like I said, with the demographic information, behaviors, interests, that sort of thing, we can go out and find folks, but it's almost just like being an amateur astronomer being in your backyard with your nice little telescope. Whereas Facebook has access to the equivalent of the Hubble telescope to be able to find new users that behave like the target audience that you want. So we want to make sure that we're leveraging all of the information that we can get out of the platform. Lookalike audiences can be created off of pretty much any root audience that you can make in the platform. So that can be people based on engagements, whether they've engaged with your page, engaged with your post, that sort of thing. Website audiences, any of your retargeting audiences, if people came to your website, whatever pages they've been to on your site, if they've converted, any of that sort of thing, any base retargeting audience you can make. Same with page audiences. Again, if they've engaged with your page, if they follow your page within the Facebook platform, and then also custom audience uploads. If you've uploaded a list of your customers or subscribers to your newsletter, anything like that, you can also create a lookalike audience off of those folks that have been matched through that custom audience upload process. The Facebook lookalike algorithm is very much a data processing unit, and the root audience is where we can impact how successful it will be at processing the list we give it and finding new users who behave similar to it, similar to that root audience that we started with. So what we want to do is make sure that whoever we base a lookalike model off of is a very strong patterned list of users. They all have a lot of characteristics in common. They're very specific, but not too small. We need to make sure that we have enough data going in, but not so much data that a pattern is indiscernible in that audience. When we upload an audience that has a strong patterned list of behaviors and markers, the Facebook algorithm will have a lot of success of having a strong model come out the other side. It'll be able to find good patterns, find a lot of users who behave very similar to those folks on the Facebook network, and put them all into an audience for you. If we upload an audience that doesn't have any patterns in it, it can't find any recognizable distinctions between the users in the audience. Honestly, anything can come out of it. You might get a really good audience, but it also could just be terrible coming out the other side. So the biggest thing we want to do is make sure that the audience we upload has strong patterns and we can make a good lookalike model off of it. Here's something that I think most people don't think about. Each of the models that you use can be different even if they are just slight iterations of each other. A common list that people tend to upload is all of the people who convert on their website or all of the customers that they have within a platform. That will then produce a lookalike of those users, which is great. That's fine. You're going to get whatever percentage model you put in is going to come out of that. But something that I think people don't pay as much attention to is depending on how many users you have within that list, it might make sense for you to have a subset of those users who spent, let's say, over $500 on your e-commerce website, right? They spent more money than a lot of other people on the website, and we want to find users who behave like that. Now, you might think that all of the users that it's going to go find are going to overlap 100% with the lookalike of your all converters, but that's just not right. There could be a lot of different users out there who somehow have different markers that are more in line with those people who spent over $500 than the entire bucket of people on your website. So yeah, there might be a small portion of it that overlaps with the lookalike of all converters, but you also might have a large portion of people that you wouldn't have had if you didn't take that smaller subset list of your converters who only spent over $500. And now you've got a better patterned list. The lookalike audience size resulting from it is going to be the same because you always have to do it of a percentage model based on the population of that country that you're targeting. But the patterned list should be different based on what you uploaded in that root audience. When you're utilizing a root audience, think about meaningful segmentations within your customer base or how people engaged with your website or any other marker that's in here. Maybe you want to target the people who hit a thank you page, but also maybe target people who just saw your pricing page. On certain websites, a pricing page visit could be an indicator that that person is really close to wanting to make a purchase because they're starting to compare different pricing models between either your product that you have or maybe comparing you to your competitors. If you're uploading a list of users, maybe if it's like a B2B solution, maybe you want to segment by job title. It doesn't necessarily make sense to target everybody at your customers' companies. Maybe you want to target just the people who have a seniority title. That means that they might be the ones who could sign the contract. Maybe you want to segment returning versus one-time purchasers on your e-commerce website, because a lot of people probably purchase one time, but if you want more people who are purchased multiple times, create that segmentation in your list and upload that and see what lookalike model comes out of it. The only thing that we need to keep in mind is finding a happy medium with our root audience size. This is the only thing that can kind of start to hamper how segmented you get with the different models you have. So going back to my super fun space metaphor, the Goldilocks zone is basically an area that, like Goldilocks and the bears, is not too close to a star that it's so hot and inhabitable, but it's also not too far that it's too cold and inhabitable. It's just right, if you will. What Facebook suggests for your root audience upload size is for it to be anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 users to then create a lookalike off of. I personally think that that bottom number, the 10K, is way too high. If you have that, that's great. That's excellent. Use that. A lot of companies we work with have less than 10,000 users in a list. Some of them have as low as 500 users in a list. And I've seen those perform well, as long as the audience has strong patterns that Facebook can latch onto and find similar users to it. If you start to have audiences, a customer list, let's say that you're uploading, and there's 50,000 users in it, stop and take a second and think, how can I naturally segment this audience to be not one list of 50,000 users, but how can I make 2 or 3 lists of people? And now we've got 2 25,000 user lists, or maybe 3 lists where a couple of them are 15,000, one's 20,000, something like that. And now you've got 2 or 3 models that you can start to create a lookalike audience off of, see how they compare to each other performance-wise, and then optimize accordingly. So think about that when you start to set up your campaigns and set up your root audiences as to what patterns are likely to be found within these user lists, and how is Facebook going to go find those people on the network and make them targeted in my account. So when you want to use lookalike audiences, think about those 2 things that we talked about, right? How can I find meaningful segmentation in my root audience and make sure that it's still a large enough size that Facebook has enough users to base a lookalike off of, but not so many that the pattern becomes muddied and it can't find any users that actually behave like that, and it becomes the equivalent of just targeting the internet because there are too many people in there. Balance out those 2, and I guarantee you'll start to see better results with your lookalike audiences. Thanks for watching our video.
Make sure to subscribe to the Paid Media Pros channel to see more videos.